Buenísimo. What's good, you guys? Que lo que miente? Welcome to my universe. Welcome back to my universe. Welcome to another episode of the Things I Never Said podcast. In this podcast, I'm going to be responding to your questions about emancipation. I've done several podcasts like this before, so if this is your first time and you enjoy what you hear, if you enjoy the advice, or if you'd like more advice, then you can go to my channel and you can click on other videos with the emancipation advice word in the title. Also, if you would like to be able to give people advice because you're an emancipated minor or you're looking to go through the process and you found some things, you can send me an email and I can invite you to my Discord group so that you can talk to the other people on there about emancipation or other topics as well. But yes, this one is a little bit late. I'm sorry about that, but I am finally responding to you. Of course, as per usual, I won't say your name, but yes, thank you so much for writing to me. You know who you are. All right, so it says, "Hello, I have just found your video speaking on emancipation." Wow. Well, bienvenidos a mi canal, girl. It says, "I have done research on the process for my state. I feel as though my mom is emotionally abusive." I'm sorry about that. It says, "I am required to do everything in the house or I think you meant whereas my sister hasn't done hardly anything in a year." In a year, girl, what has she been doing? If it's been a year, what? It says my mom won't allow me to get a driver's license and says she won't sign anything that will help me do that. Wow. So that means I would have to wait until I'm 18 to get one. However, I graduate when I'm 17 and would have to remain in her house until September, which I feel will sever my mental state. Damn. Okay, it says, "Last year I was kicked out and sent to my cousin's house for a month. My mom said she wasn't going to help me get a work permit, but I found out I don't need her to do that, so I got myself a job and I have had one for about 5 months now." Yes, girl. Yes, the first piece of good news I've read in this email. Good job, girl. Really good job. It says, "My friend's mom has offered to let me stay with her when I turn 16 so that there is no legal problems with my mom. I have also mapped out a plan of expenses if I were to get emancipated. I would like to know how to write a petition to the court and if this is a good reason." Okay. I just got to take a few deep breaths. Not one, not two, but a few. Okay? Okay. Because whenever I read emails like this, it really saddens my heart for a moment that so many children that were my age, that were younger than me, and sometimes a little bit older are going through these kinds of situations because it just shows how toxic and unfit many of our parents are. And it's just such a shame that they exist. I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not sorry because you should not have children if you're going to put your children through this kind of heartache and this kind of emotional damage or worse or through any kind of trauma. It's not necessary. Of course, I'm sure through everybody's perspective, there's always justification for why they do the things that they do. Like I'm sure your mom probably complains to her friends about her children from time to time, and in her mind it makes sense for her to treat you the way that she does. But I don't know, maybe I need a little bit more context, but for me it doesn't seem right. Why wouldn't your mom or any mother want you to get a job? Why wouldn't your mom want you to learn how to provide for yourself? At some point in your life, you're going to need to know how to do that. And if she doesn't want to help you, then she should definitely encourage you to be able to help yourself. She should equip you with the tools so that you know how to help yourself. That is a mother's job. That is a parent's job. My goodness. But before I start going in, I just want to go backwards because you did say a lot and you asked several questions. So, first things first, you say your bum ass sister doesn't do anything or she hasn't done anything in a year. So let's forget about her. I don't know what her excuse is, but I don't believe in that type of pura mierda. If you have sisters, if you have siblings, every child in the house should have a responsibility. If you have read or if you have watched any of the videos on my channel about my situation, then you may know that oftentimes, like, my siblings would tell me to do the things that they didn't feel like doing, or like if my mother came into the room and told them to go do something, they would say, no, go tell Star to do it, go tell Star you need to do it, and then I would have to get up and do it. And of course, I couldn't tell my mother, who I didn't get along with, oh, go tell somebody else to do it. I was always that somebody else, and that was very triggering, that was very difficult, that was very exhausting, because I was a child. I was a child who was taking care of other children that did not come out of me, and did not respect me. And then I was a child who had, responsibilities at school as well. So oftentimes, like, I took care of the kids, and then I cleaned up in the house. And then, like, at like 9 or like 10 at night, that's when I would start my homework. That's when I would go make like a bowl of cereal for myself. And I was always up really late doing the things that a child is supposed to do, like when they get home, because of the responsibilities that were put on me. If that's your situation, please know that it shouldn't be your situation. Please know that you don't deserve that. As a child, you're supposed to be skill building, not chasing boys, not chasing girls, not focused on whether people like you, whether people are following you. You're supposed to be skill building so that when you get on your own and when you become independent, you can qualify for as many jobs as you can or as you want, and that you have many opportunities at your fingertips because of how skilled you are. That's just what I believe. But yeah, so forget your sister. You say your mom won't allow you to get a driver's license. So I'm assuming you know how to drive. If you know how to drive, that's good. But if she won't help you get your driver's license, how did you learn how to drive? Are you driving illegally? Please, if you are, don't do anything like that. Don't do anything stupid, because when you are trying to be an emancipated minor, or when you finally become emancipated, you have to make sure that you act accordingly. The judge and society now gets to look at you as an adult. Even though you're a child, even though you don't look like an adult, you can be tried as an adult, because legally that's what you will become. So I think I've said this before because it's very serious. If you go to a party, if you do things you're not supposed to be doing, if somebody gets hurt, or if somebody just calls the police, like a neighbor or a parent or somebody at the party who something, happens to, then you will be seen as the adult. Not that you would be blamed for everything, but if they like arrested the children there for some reason, they would arrest you and try to throw adult charges at you. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure you do everything by the book. Don't do anything reckless, because when you become an adult, society is less gentle with you. Sometimes judges can be less gentle with you, especially if you chose to get emancipated. Nobody forced you to. So I want you to think about that today and every day, that you really consider this process. Based on your situation, it does seem like you should consider emancipation. You said that you graduate when you're 17, but you have to remain in your mom's house until September, and you feel like that is gonna really mess with your mental state. For that, I would just suggest that you do whatever you can to find joy in your life and to consistently experience contentment with however you can and whenever you can. So, whatever brings you joy, just do it, and do it in small doses or large doses. Just make sure you do it. If you enjoy singing, sing. If you enjoy dancing, dance. Like, whatever you can to keep your spirits high and to keep yourself in good energy and feeling uplifted is whatever you should do. Because if you don't, you will give your mom and anybody else who is attacking you or bothering you or sucking your energy dry too much of your power. You don't want to do that. So write about whatever you're experiencing. If you don't like writing, type. Type on your phone, type in your notes, and put locks on your notes if your phone allows you to do that, so that even if your phone got stolen or taken from you, no one could find those things. And don't title the notes like what I feel, or like diary entry, title the note something like peach yogurt recipe, gluten-free, like something that no one would want to click on or something. Um, but yeah, that's just my advice. And I've done other videos about stuff like that. So, and I'll do some more in the future. So stay tuned. But yes, always, always, always protect your mental state, because you are not going to be as strong as you can be without a strong and a positive mindset. Don't allow people to make you feel terrible about situations you don't even contribute to. If you know that you're not a toxic person, or that you don't treat people in toxic ways, don't consume their toxic energy. Just try to keep yourself away from it. And remember that when people are projecting onto you, they are angry about their life. They are bothered about what's not working out for them. And while you can have empathy for them, make sure that you don't blame yourself for that. I don't know what the source of your mother's issues are. Let's just say that. I don't know what she's mad about. I don't know why she's bitter towards you. Of course, there's so many things that you didn't tell me. I don't know your situation entirely. So I don't want to assume that she's just an evil person. But based on what I have read, it doesn't sound like she's interested in being, a real mother to you. And a mother is supposed to be there for you, to uplift you, and to equip you with the skills that you need to flourish in life. So I would say forget her too, honey. But that's just me. That's just how I am. Anywho, you said that you were kicked out and sent to your cousin's house for a month. I'm more curious about that. Why would you be kicked out to your cousin's house? So obviously you were still within the family. Why were you kicked out for a month? I'm just curious as to what happened. But of course, you don't have to respond to me. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I will send you the link to my Discord group if you would like to chat about that with me and the other people in the group, because I am curious, and I hope that you're okay and that you recover from whatever happened that caused you to have to leave. But I'm glad that you did get a job. You said that you've been working for 5 months. That is wonderful. That is really, really good to know. I don't hear from people often that they are actually enabling themselves with a job, with financial stability, or like with a hobby or an extracurricular activity. So I'm really glad that you were smart enough to do the research and get a work permit, or to get a job without your mom having to approve of your work permit, because you know that she wouldn't have. Good job, girl. Bien hecho, niña. Okay, so you said that your friend's mom offered to let you stay with her when you turn 16. So I'm assuming you're 15, or maybe I don't know, because you said you graduate at age 16, but you have to stay until September. So are you 16 or are you 17? Or are you 15? Either way, you're still pretty young. So when it comes to your friend's mom, it's a nice idea when your friend's parents are like, oh yeah, you can come stay with us. But I would caution you to not get too comfortable with that, because when your friend doesn't want to be your friend anymore, you will no longer have a place to stay. You also may not like everything about staying with your friend and her family or his family, whoever it is. So you want to make sure that no matter what household you move to, you can provide for yourself. Make sure you can get to your job on your own. You don't want to become or feel like you are a burden in their household. I think it's wise, if you ever go live with a friend's family, that you find a way to like exist there without really existing there. Like, I don't mean literally, but you just don't want to depend on people too much. Don't be afraid to ask questions and to ask for help, of course, because if they offer to help you, then that should mean that they really want to. But like I said, get a job or have a job that you can walk to, or that you can bike to, or you can take the bus to, or something like that. You want to make sure you can rely on yourself as much as possible, because guess what? When you grow older, when you become an adult, you have to be able to rely on yourself. There's also so much satisfaction in being able to do your own thing. Sometimes when people help you, they start to feel entitled to the things that you have. Like, for example, oh, well, I'm driving you to work, so you need to start paying me $20 for gas money. Or it could be a situation where you're like me, you're very empathetic, so then you just start offering to pay gas money. I remember when I was going to like this driving school to get my permit, and this person that I went to school with had talked to the legal guardian that I had, or the legal guardian talked to her and talked to her dad, really. And they worked out something where he was going to drop me off after the school. Well, I didn't really talk to the girl like that, so it was kind of awkward for me. They didn't even talk to me in the car. And I remember one time I offered him $20 for gas money, and he just laughed. And maybe I misunderstood something because I didn't know him like that, but I found it very disrespectful that I offered him $20 for gas money and he laughed. Like, best to believe that was the last time I offered him anything, because I thought that was so disrespectful. And I lived pretty close to them. So I know that the $20 was very, very, very generous. But yeah, you don't want to put yourself in situations like that where maybe you're overextending yourself and then people start to take advantage of you or take advantage of that. You want to make sure you can depend on yourself no matter what household you go live in. If you have watched my videos, or if you've read my poetry collection, then you may know that I lived with a few different people. I grew up in foster care for about 8 years, and then I was living with my biological parents for about 7.5 years. And then at 15, I left, and I lived with this woman who had guardianship over me for about 1 year. And then I became an emancipated minor at 16, at 16, almost 17 years young. And then I still lived with her for the next couple of years. So things became like really uncomfortable and tense there. I ended up leaving, and I ended up living with a friend's dad and her sister in an unfinished room in an unfinished basement for about a year and a half. And that situation didn't work out well, of course. I've done videos about that. And then I left, and I was like homeless for like 12 days, but not really homeless on the streets, just like homeless because I didn't have an address. And I was staying on a friend's couch. And I was grateful to that friend, but of course it wasn't very comfortable to have to, stay on the couch, and more so just to have to like be in the car driving for hours and hours twice a day and have to get up super early because her mom had to drop off all of us. I didn't want to be an inconvenience to them, as grateful as I was. And I also just wasn't super comfortable having to do that. But of course, I was grateful. I'm saying that just to say, like, when you go stay with somebody, it's not going to always be ideal. It's not going to be exactly how you want it to be. And you're not going to have very much control sometimes if you can't provide for yourself. I didn't have a car, so I literally had no choice but to wake up super early in the morning and just get in the car and go with them and be dropped off and, eat whatever they could afford to buy for me. And that's just how it was. I didn't complain, of course, at all. When I was staying in that unfinished room, there were centipedes, there were spiders that would just appear on the wall sometimes. It was awkward because the girl that was supposed to be my friend was never there. Like, I never saw the girl. It was very, very, very strange. When I say never, I'm exaggerating. I can be dramatic, but yeah, like I rarely saw this girl, and she was supposed to be my friend. I ended up like bonding with her sister and talking to her sister more than I talked to her. And when things went down with her dad, when her father accused me of helping myself to his laundry pods and helping myself to his food every day, which I did not do, I literally ate the food that he would offer me when he cooked dinner. But the narrative changes when they don't like you anymore. And when he accused me of doing things I didn't do, and he got upset at me, this girl that was supposed to be my friend was nowhere around. She was not calling me. She was not texting me. She didn't acknowledge anything that was going on between me and her father, but I'm sure that she knew that he was kicking me out. So for the last 3 months that I was there, she did not speak to me at all. You can bet yourself I do not talk to that girl at all to this day. But imagine how disappointing that was for someone who was supposed to be my friend, for someone who invited me to go stay with her father. I didn't ask her for that. She's the one who offered it to me, only to let me show up and then find out later on that she wasn't even living with him. Like, why would I want to live with somebody or live in a household that you're not even in, you know? But like I said, things can be like really weird. Things can be less than ideal for you when you go stay with somebody else. So just be aware of that. And I would encourage you to go watch other videos like about me getting kicked out, like the videos around the time where I uploaded videos about being homeless. You can like learn more about the stories and the situations that I went through then if you haven't already seen those videos. But yes, lastly, you say that you won't have any legal problems with your mom if you move out when you turn 16 and go stay with your friend's mom. I'm glad. If you can avoid the legal problems, you really should. You don't want to be labeled as a runaway in the system because it can be difficult for you, depending on who's pulling up your records, who's doing a background check, like certain employers and institutions. You just don't want that on your record if you can avoid it. But hopefully you would, if that ever happened, you'd be able to explain yourself. But again, hopefully you could avoid it as well. So also when it comes to that time where you leave, make sure that you do that in a very calculated way. Like when you know you're about to leave, make sure your stuff is already packed so that if anything happens, you can grab whatever is the most important to you. I mentioned it in a video long ago that I had everything packed in a bag or in 2 bags under my bed so that the day that I got kicked out when I was 15, I was able to just grab my bags and I was able to leave. I was also, super poor. My family was super poor. So it's not like I had that much to carry anyway. And then your last sentence says that you have mapped out the plan of expenses. I think that's really good. I'm always really impressed when the people write to me, or when the people who write to me say that they have mapped out their expenses. I had one person actually send me a document showing me a list of her budget and expense ideas. I thought that was really, really, really cool. It's good to know that you are all thinking about that. And I would definitely include that in your petition because even if things don't turn out exactly the way that you map them out to be, the judge will definitely be impressed that you're thinking that far ahead because some people who are twice your age don't even think that far ahead, unfortunately. And then that brings me to the very last point that you mentioned, actually. You said that you would like to know how to write a petition to the court and if this is a good reason. Your situation, just like anybody else's, is always a good reason because at some point in time, we all recognize when we're not being treated the way we should be and the way that we deserve to be treated. And at that point, you do need to just go on to something better. Once you recognize that something or someone is not serving you, and I don't mean literally serving you, I mean like serving your life and what you want in your life, then I think you should move on. It's the healthiest thing to do. There's no point in staying when you recognize it's not functioning and things are not working well. So it's not up to me to decide if your reason is good enough. That's up to you. And I do think it is just because you asked my opinion, girl. And also, you asked me how to write a petition to the court. Um, I have a document on my computer. I will email it to you when I respond to this email with a link to the video. I am going to send you this document. It's literally called Instructions How to Fill Out the Petition for Emancipation of a Minor. This may be for lawyers, actually, but this would actually be very helpful to you because there's a breakdown of what the document or the petition is supposed to include. And I'm sure that lawyers use something like this too. When I went through the process, I just wrote my petition as I would write an essay. I'm a writer, so that just, that was easy for me. Um, But in case you have not started a petition or a draft of a petition, or even if you have, you can use a document like this as a guide. I will send it to you, but for those of you who are listening who have not contacted me and who I can't exactly send this to just yet, in your petition, you just want to make sure that you include an explanation as to what your situation is personally, financially, your social affairs, aka like what your situation is with the people who are your caregivers, who you depend on, who you're not able to depend on, what your housing situation is, like who pays the bills, and how you support yourself if you do in any way. Like if you pay your own phone bill, you definitely want to include that in your petition. And I would go one step further. I would actually print out a PDF file or a PDF document, excuse me, of your bill statements, just because you can include that in the petition and it will help you. The thicker that packet is, the better, because it shows that you're very, very, very serious. On this document, it even says that you will need to attach a paper containing the full explanation if your petition doesn't already fully explain how you will provide for yourself, for your own food, housing, medical care, or other anticipated costs. The judge is definitely going to want to know, how you plan to provide for yourself. You need to be thinking about that, and you need to have some sort of idea that you can prepare and provide to your lawyers and the judge. Again, it may not even go that way. You may go move in with your friend's mom, and she may go to the courthouse and say, "Judge or Your Honor, I am going to make sure that she's provided for," like my legal guardian did for me. But if you watch my videos, you know how quickly that shit backfired. So make sure you can provide for yourself, and make sure you can write about how you plan to provide for yourself. Mention how much you're making and what other skills that you have and other jobs that you qualify for, in case you would look elsewhere, or in case something, would happen with your job. That's always something that I think the judge would want to know. But yes, I will send you an email. Excuse the rude car that just passed. But yeah, I will send you an email, and I will include this document. You can go over it. And if you have more questions, catch me on the Discord or just respond to my email and I can answer your questions. But yes, I think I have said enough. Thank you so much for your email. Thank you for your questions. I'm really glad that you wrote to me. And I'm really, really, really glad that you have a job, because just having money in your pocket changes things. Maybe your mom doesn't like that you're becoming independent with or without her, but that's her problem. That's not yours. So keep doing your thing, keep supporting yourself. Since you found me, I do think that it means you're on the right track. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about your situation, about your bum sister and your bum mother. I'll say it for you, because you probably don't have the heart to say it, girl. I'll call them bums for you, because anybody who's emotionally abusing you or putting all their responsibilities on you doesn't deserve you in their life. And guess what? I can speak from my own self and from my own experiences. At some point in time, they're going to miss you. They're going to regret how they treated you. And when that time comes, they will be blowing up your phone looking for you to soothe their guilty conscience. And guess what? You will have the power, the job, the support financially, personally, emotionally, and so on and so forth, to decide whether or not you give a damn. And if you don't give a damn, I don't blame you, because you deserve better. As long as you know that, and as long as you believe that, then you will keep flourishing without them, or without anybody who doesn't want to support you, because you support you, and that's most important. But yes, on that note, I will say thank you so much for listening. Tata mi amores, take care.